Hey, what's going on, guys? So our lure review this week is going to be on the Rapala Clackin Rap. This lure has been out for at least a few years. They came out with an entire series of clacking lures that have this disc here on the side. And basically what this is, if you guys remember my clacking crank review that I did, it's basically the same thing where this disc is actually a cylinder inside the bait that goes directly through all the way to the other side of the bait. So when you flip it over, you'll see it on the other side there. You'll see the cylinder. So this is just a cylinder in here that has a little BB inside of it that rocks from side to side. So that's basically the distinguishing characteristic of this bait to any of the other Rapala baits, that it has this cylinder inside that makes this one knocking sound to it. So it's very unique in the fact of its one knocking sound, and then also with that disc that's on the side there. It comes in 3 different sizes. I actually got the biggest size. This is the number 8 size. It has a length of 3 1/8 inches. Has a weight of 7/8 of an ounce. And it says that there's 2 different size hooks. I can't really tell the difference on this one here. It says that it's a number 4 and a number 3. On this one you can tell, but it's because this one has a sure set hook on the front. That sure set hook is that extra wide gap style hook that's on one of the trebles of the treble hook on the front there. So and I don't know if I would have put that on the front or the back. I probably would put that on the back. But either way, that's where it is. So, but it's a very unique lure in its sound. I'll go ahead and show you guys the sound of it. So it definitely has that one knocking sound, as opposed to, like, this is probably my favorite lipless crankbait right here. This is the Lucky Craft LVRTO. This is the 150, so it's about a half ounce. It's either half ounce or 5/8 of an ounce, but this is the more traditional sounding. Several BBs rocking around in there quite a bit. Now, upon your first impressions of the lure, when you look at it, I mean, it's just like every other Rapala lure out there, where they definitely make their lures to catch fishermen. I mean, not to say that their lures don't catch fish, because they do. I mean, I've had tremendous amounts of success on Rapala lures, but the lures are definitely striking in their appearance, because when you look at them, especially like I'll go ahead and call this their X-Rap style, because their X-Rap style lures have like a shell on them that they do have paint. Like this one has the chartreuse painted on the back and on the belly and the red on the head, but that holographic foil that you see is actually underneath the plastic shell of the bait. You can actually see that it's underneath the scales there. You can see the scales that are actually they're actually underneath the plastic there, but even further underneath that is that holographic foil finish that's underneath there. So there's a lot of things going on in the bait. The bait feels extremely durable. I mean, it's a 7/8 of an ounce bait, so it's definitely a heavier bait. I tend to go, because I have so many of those smaller, like the half-ounce style baits, like that Lucky Craft there, that when I buy lipless crankbaits now, I tend to buy the bigger ones now, just so I can have, because I do have quite a bit of success using the larger ones from time to time as well. But that holographic finish is actually underneath the plastic. And in my experience, these X-Rap style baits, where the finish or the foil is underneath the plastic of the bait, I have found these baits to be very, very durable, very robust. So they'll last you a long time. This bait is $9.99, so it's definitely not the cheapest bait in the world, but for those of you guys that want a bait that'll last a long time and you can probably bang it off of stuff, this is a good bait for it. When you're looking at the top, you can see it's got a circle split ring there. I would have preferred it, like most of you already know, I would prefer for it to have a oval split ring for ease of tying, but you know, for a $10 bait, I suppose you can still have a circular split ring there. You can see it still does have a fin on there. There's this flat nose on the top of the head there, which is going to create that rocking action. Now, my experience on the water with it is interesting, because when you hold the bait and you feel how heavy it is, and you see that cylinder there, and you hear it when you rock it around like that, you would think that this thing's just gonna make all kinds of noise, and it's gonna be very very distracting to bass and hard for them to not eat it. Well, when you get done fishing a bait like the LV, like the LV RTO, you can see the difference there, or the here's another favorite of mine, which is the Excalibur XR50. There's a sound. These baits make a tremendous amount of noise, and they make a tremendous amount of vibration in the water. These baits, lipless crankbaits in general, when you run them through the water because of their thin profile, they rock hard. They move from side to side like this quickly, and so they rock extremely hard when they're going through the water. So they get those little BBs inside rocking and moving really hard inside the water. This bait, for whatever reason, you don't feel a ton of vibration at the end of your line, which I found to be honest with you guys, quite disappointing, because the vibration at the end of the lure sometimes is definitely a characteristic that you're looking for in a lipless crankbait, because that's going to be the characteristic that helps you find things like weeds, and know when you have weeds fouled up on the end of the hook, or know sometimes when you have a fish on the end of it. So sometimes when you don't get that hard vibrating effect out of a lure, it could be disappointing at times. Now there are other lures out there like the Lucky Craft LVR that doesn't have a lot of vibration. That's just the nature of the bait. Or like well, I don't want to say the Duo Realis vibration, because that bait it is skinny and it doesn't have a tremendous amount of vibration, but it still does rattle quite a bit, which still resonates up the line. This bait doesn't seem to want to do that for whatever reason. The noise factor in it just doesn't seem to be there. So, but outside of that, the casting is tremendous. It seems to be very heavily weighted towards the nose. So when it falls in the water column, it pretty much just goes, I don't want to say it goes straight down, but it's definitely going down in a hurry, because I don't want to say it goes straight down, because it does have this kind of wandering action as it goes down. It doesn't wobble from side to side, at least in my experience. It didn't do a whole lot of wobbling from side to side on its track on the way down, but there are definitely some characteristics that will allow me to fish it again, and I can find some situations where I'd like to fish it again. I really like, you guys know I like these louder colors sometimes, like this clown color here. I find them to be very effective certain times of the year. So it's a very nice lure. You've got the three-dimensional holographic guys that you'll find in most Rapala lures, and like I said, just that same kind of X-Wrap effect. You've got good premium hooks, the VMC hooks, stock right out of the package. So you're definitely getting a quality lure. There were just some characteristics that personally left some stuff on the table for me. So go ahead and show you this color. This is the clown color. Chartreuse on the back, red on the head, holographic on the sides, yellow on the bottom, or chartreuse on the bottom, and red on the head again on the bottom. So there's our clown color. This next color here is just a standard shad color. They call it silver, but it's got that black back and a silver belly with a red head, or a red throat, if you will, with that same kind of holographic finish that's underneath the shell of the bait there. So there's silver. You know, it's also worth noting that on this bait, on the retrieve, I found it to, a lot of these lipless crankbaits, when, like I said, when you're running them through the water, they'll be nose down and they'll be rocking like this, and you'll see that you get that shimmering effect as it comes to the water, because you can see it as that holographic foil on there reflects towards the lens of the camera. You can see that it's creating an effect where it could be distracting. And I found this bait to almost have kind of like a swimming action, which you'll find in a traditional lipped crankbait, like a squirrel bow crankbait or a shallow diving flat-sided crankbait or something like that. An actual diving, floating style crankbait that normally has that swimming action, where these normally have that wobbling action. Well, this kind of almost has that swimming action to it. So it's definitely, in the nature of the bait, it definitely has a different effect than your more traditional lipless crankbaits, like the Strike King Red Eye Shad, or the I'll go ahead and give you guys a listen to both of them. There's your Red Eye Shad. There's your Clackin. There's your Excalibur XR50 and your LVRTO. So definitely an interesting crankbait here, you guys. I actually really like it. I just it did leave some stuff on the table for me that left some stuff to be desired. Like that vibration, that's definitely something that I look for in most of my crankbaits. Not all of them, but most of them. So if you guys like the review, please hit the like button down there in the lower left corner. If you guys have any other experiences of your own that you'd like to share with anybody else, please post them down there in the comments so people can learn from what you guys have to say and your experiences on the water with this bait. Stay tuned for the next review, and thanks for watching.